Mina, Tolu, and Sarah did not know one another before they arrived at boarding school. They came from different homes and backgrounds, but they had one thing in common: loneliness. Mina was 10 years old, Tolu was 10, and Sarah was the oldest at 11. Mina's parents were successful business people who traveled all the time. They were always busy with meetings, flights, and important clients. Mina lived in a big house filled with expensive things, but it was always empty. The maids and cooks took care of her, but they were not family. She wanted someone to talk to, someone to notice her. Tolu's parents were doctors who worked long hours at the hospital. She barely saw them. They left home before she woke up and returned after she had gone to bed. The only time they spoke to her was to ask about her grades. She had everything she needed: new clothes, toys, and books, but no one to share them with. The house felt cold, even with all the lights on. Sarah was the only child of politicians who were always at meetings, events, or on the phone. They told her to be responsible and understand that their work was important. But what about her? Didn't she matter too? When their parents sent them to boarding school, none of them cried. They were used to being lonely. But when they arrived, reality hit them hard. Mina looked around at the unfamiliar faces and felt nervous. She had never been away from home before. Now she had to share a room with strangers. Tolu sat on her bed and watched other girls hug their parents goodbye. She wished her parents had come, but they were too busy. A driver had dropped her off instead. Sarah walked around the school, trying to look confident, but inside she was scared. Would she make friends? Would anyone care about her? That night, Mina, Tolu, and Sarah found themselves in the same dormitory. At first, they did not talk. Each girl kept to herself, afraid to let anyone in. The next morning, during breakfast, Mina accidentally spilled her tea on Tolu's uniform. "Oh no, I'm so sorry," Mina said, panicking. Tolu looked down at her uniform, then at Mina's worried face. Instead of getting angry, she laughed. "It's just tea. Don't worry about it." Sarah, who was sitting nearby, smiled. "That's a good way to handle it. Most people would have been upset." "Well, I know how it feels when things go wrong," Tolu said. "It's not worth getting mad." From that moment, something changed between them. They started sitting together during meals, walking to class as a group, and sharing stories about their lives. One evening, as they lay in their bunk, Mina whispered, "I've always wanted a sister." Sarah turned to her and smiled. "What if we become sisters?" Tolu sat up. "Yes, from now on, we are sisters, no matter what." They held hands and made a silent promise. They had been lonely for so long, but not anymore. Boarding school was no longer just a place to stay. It became the home they never had, and together, they became the family they had always wished for. The three girls quickly became the best students in their classes. Mina excelled in mathematics. Tolu had a sharp memory and was great at science. Sarah loved literature and history. Their teachers noticed their hard work and often praised them in class. Then came visiting day. Other students were excited, running to meet their parents with big smiles. Some carried bags filled with homemade food, gifts, and letters from home. Mina, Tolu, and Sarah waited near the gate, hoping to see their parents' car arrive. But as time passed, their smiles faded. Their parents did not come. They watched as other students hugged their parents and showed off their snacks and new things. The three friends sat under a tree, sharing a small pack of biscuits that Tolu had saved. They talked about their dreams, their plans for the future, and how one day they would never feel alone again. Their friendship was stronger than ever. Even without their parents, they had each other, and that was enough. The holiday had finally arrived. Mina, Solu, and Sarah packed their bags, excited to go home, but nervous at the same time. It has been months since they saw their parents. Would things be different now? Would their parents finally have time for them? One by one, their parents sent drivers to pick them up. There were no hugs, no warm smiles, just a driver standing at the school gate, waiting silently to take them home. Mina sat in the car, staring out of the window. She wished her parents had come themselves, just this once. Tolu hugged her back tightly, feeling a deep ache in her chest. Sarah sat quietly, hoping that maybe, just maybe, her parents would be waiting for her at home. But when they arrived, their hopes were shattered. Their houses were empty. No parents, no warm welcome, just silence. The only people waiting for them were the maids and cooks. They greeted the girls politely, took their bags, and told them their food was ready. But it wasn't the welcome they longed for. There were no excited voices, no long embraces, just workers doing their jobs. Each of them found a note waiting on the table. Mina's wrote read, "We have to travel for business. Be good." Tolu's note was short, "Busy at the hospital. Call if you need anything." Sarah's note was even colder, "Important meeting. See you soon." Tears welled up in their eyes. They had waited months to see their parents, but once again they were alone. Mina sat on her bed, hugging her pillow tightly. Tolu ate in silence, forcing the food down even though it tasted like nothing. Sarah stared at the wall, trying to convince herself that she didn't care. They were home, but it didn't feel like home at all. When the holiday started, the girls had dreams of spending time with their parents, of feeling loved and wanted, but instead of welcoming hands, they were sent away to stay with different relatives. Mina's mother called one evening. "Mina, we are traveling for an important business meeting. You will stay with Auntie Gloria until school resumes. Behave yourself." Mina's heart sank. She barely knew Auntie Gloria, her father's sister, a woman who never showed much interest in her. But she had no choice. The next morning, her father's driver picked her up. Tolu's mother barely had time to speak. "Tolu, your cousin Daniel will take care of you. I will check on you when I can." Sarah's father was just as distant. "Uncle Richard will be responsible for you this holiday. We will be away on a work trip." None of them has the chance to say no. Auntie Gloria was not an affectionate woman. When Mina arrived, she barely looked up from her phone. "Your room is upstairs. Don't disturb me. I have guests coming." Mina carried a small bag up the stairs and found a tiny, dusty room. There was no hug, no questions about school, just silence. She sat on the hard mattress and sighed. It's going to be a long holiday. Days passed, and Auntie Gloria hardly spoke to her. She was always on the phone or out with friends. Mina spent most of her time alone in the room. Sometimes she tiptoed downstairs to eat whatever was left in the kitchen. It was as if she didn't exist. Then one night, everything changed. Auntie Gloria's husband, Uncle Joe, came home late, smelling of alcohol. Mina was already in bed when she heard the door cracked open. "Mina," he whispered, "are you awake?" She froze. She didn't answer. She didn't move. But that didn't stop him. Tolu's cousin Daniel was in his early 20s. When she arrived, he acted friendly. "You are all grown up now," he said with a smile. At first, everything seems fine. He took her to the market, bought her snacks and let her watch cartoon. But soon his behavior changed. One evening, while watching a movie, he sat too close. "You don't have to try," he said, putting his arm round her. Tolu felt uncomfortable but didn't know what to say. She didn't want to be rude. That night, he knocked on her door. "Tolu, let me show you something," he whispered. Tolu didn't want to go, but she was scared to refuse. She stepped out of her room, and that was the beginning of her nightmare. Sarah's uncle, Richard, had always been a quiet man. When she arrived, he welcomed her with a smile. "Make yourself at home." But Sarah never felt at home. His eyes lingered on her for too long. He found excuses to touch her, fixing her collar, brushing something off her shoulder. At first, she thought it was nothing, but as days passed, she noticed the way he looked at her. Then one night, he entered her room. "Sarah," he said softly, sitting on the bed, "you are a big girl now. You can keep secrets, right?" Her heart pounded. She wanted to scream, but no sound came out. She wanted to run, but she couldn't move. And just like that, her world shattered into pieces. The holiday had ended, and Mina, Selu, and Sarah returned to school, but they were not the same. They sat together in the dormitory, but the laughter was gone. The one they once shared had faded. Something was broken. Something has been taken from them. They didn't need to say it. Their eyes said it all. Each of them had been hurt in ways they couldn't explain. They had gone home as happy girls. They had returned as broken souls. The days passed, but the pain did not. They moved through the school like shadows. Their once bright smiles were gone. They spoke when necessary, laughed when expected, but inside they were drowning. At night, Sarah lay on her bed, staring at the ceiling. Her uncle's voice echoed in her head, whispering things that made her stomach turn. She clenched her fist, biting her lips to stop the tears. She didn't want to cry. Crying meant weakness, and she had to be strong. Tolu barely ate anymore. Her uniform hung loosely on her thin frame. Every time she heard a man's voice, even a teacher's, her hand trembled. She hated feeling this way, scared, helpless. She wanted to forget, but the memories refused to leave her. Mina tried to act normal. She laughed at jokes. She answered questions in class, but at night she covered her ears, trying to block out Uncle Joe's voice. She hated him. She hated herself for not stopping him. The worst of all, she hated that no one had protected her. They never spoke about what happened. They did not know how, but in silence they found comfort. One evening, they sat together in Sarah's bed, not saying a word, just breathing the same air, feeling the same pain. Then Mina whispered, "I miss us." Tolu wiped her eyes. "Me too." Sarah took her hands. "We may be broken, but we are not alone. We have each other always." For the first time in weeks, they heard one another. They cried, not alone, but together. And in that moment, they knew their friendship was the only thing no one could take away from them. Days turned into weeks, but the pains never left. Mina, Tolu, and Sarah carried their secret like heavy stone in their hearts. They smiled when they had to, laughed when they were expected to, but inside they were drowning. The past haunted them, creeping into their minds when they least expected it. The nightmares never stopped. Mina woke up drenched in sweat. Tolu flinched at every sudden touch. Sarah barely spoke anymore. They were trapped in their own pain, unable to find a way out. The fear of not being believed was stronger than their need for help. The world had a way of silencing girls like them, making them feel like their pain wasn't real, but their pain was real. Their tears were real. The holidays arrived again, but for Mina, Tolu and Sarah, it was not a time of joy, it was a time of fear. They knew what waited for them at home: more silence, more pain. The three girls had promised one another that this time they would not keep quiet. This time they would tell their parents everything. But things did not go as they hoped. Mina sat in the back seat of her father's car as the driver took her home. Her heart pounded in her chest. She practiced the words in her head. Daddy, Auntie Gloria's husband hurt me. Please don't send me back there. But when she arrived home, her father barely looked at her. He was on his phone, discussing business as usual. Mina, go to your room, he said, waving his hand dismissively. Mina opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. She watched as her father walked away. Her mother was nowhere to be seen. She was always traveling, always working. Mina felt a lump in her throat. She had waited weeks to tell them, but they didn't even give her a chance. Tolu sat at the dining table, her hands shaking as she held her spoon. Her mother, a well-respected doctor, flipping through medical files, barely glancing at her daughter. Mommy, I need to talk to you, Tolu finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. Her mother sighed. Tolu, I'm very busy. Whatever it is, can it wait? No, mommy, she insisted, her voice trembling. It's important. Her mother frowned. You are not in trouble, are you? I don't want any embarrassment. Tolu swallowed hard. No, but then it can wait. Her mother snapped. I have a night shift. We will talk later. Tolu's heart sank. There would never be a later. Sarah's parents were throwing a party. Important girls filled the house. Laughter and music echoed through the air. She waited patiently, hoping to catch a moment alone with her father. Finally, when the party died down, she approached him. Daddy, can I talk to you? Not now, Sarah, I'm tired, he said, rubbing his temples. But it's really important. Enough, Sarah, he snapped. Why are you always so dramatic? You always want attention. Go to bed. Sarah bit her lip to stop the tears from falling. Attention? Was that what he thought this was? That she just wanted attention? Her chest ached as she turned away. No one wanted to listen. No one wanted to see her pain. That night, all three girls lay in their beds in different houses, crying into their pillows. Their own parents had silenced them before they could even speak. If their own family wouldn't listen, then who would? The next day, things got even worse. Their parents, too busy to deal with them, sent them back to the homes of their abusers, the same place where their pain had started. Mina arrived at Auntie Gloria's house, hoping her father would change his mind, but he didn't. She walked through the door, and Auntie Gloria barely looked at her. That night, Mina woke up to find Uncle Joe standing at her bedroom door. His eyes dark and full of something she didn't understand. She shut her eyes, wishing she could disappear. Tolu was sent back to her cousin Daniel's house. She tried to tell her mother that she didn't want to go, but her mother brushed her off, saying she had work. The moment she stepped into the house, Daniel smirked at her. Miss Me, he whispered, sending shiver down her spine. Sarah begged her parents not to send her to Uncle Richard's house, but they told her she was being ungrateful. He takes care of you when we are busy. Stop complaining, her mother had said. That night, her uncle placed his hand on her shoulder. You know you can't tell anyone, right? They won't believe you. Their scream remained locked inside their hearts. Their pain grew heavier, and under their parents' watch, their nightmare continued. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and months into years. The three girls were now in their final year of high school, but the pain of their past never left them. No matter how hard they tried to forget, the memories followed them like shadows. Mina, who was once bright and cheerful, had become distant. She no longer trusted anyone and kept to herself. Tolu, who used to be full of life, had become cold and guided. Sarah, the most talkative of them all, barely spoke anymore. They moved through the hallway like ghosts, unseen and unheard. Their teachers noticed the change in their behavior, but no one ever asked. Their classmates whispered about them, but they never understood. They felt alone, trapped in a world where no one cared. Then one day, everything changed. A new school counselor, Mrs. Davis, arrived. She was different from the other teachers. She noticed things. She saw how Mina never looked people in the eyes. She saw how Tulu avoided any form of physical touch. She saw how Sarah jumped at the slightest sound, and she knew these were not just normal teenage struggles. Then one day, Mrs. Davis, the school counselor, called them into her office. You girls has been through a lot, haven't you? She asked gently. They didn't answer. They couldn't. I want you to know that you are safe here, she said. Whatever it is, you don't have to carry it alone. Mina clenched her fist. Solu looked away. Sarah swallowed hard. Could they really trust her? Would she believe them? Mrs. Davis' voice was steady. I believe you. Those three words broke them. The tears came, spilling from eyes that had held back too much for too long. One by one, they told their stories. It was painful, but with every word, they felt a little lighter. They were still afraid, but now they were not alone. They had taken the first steps towards healing. The school called their parents. When they arrived, the guilt in their eyes was unmistakable. They had been too blind, too busy to see their daughter's pain. Mina's mother wished for her. I'm so sorry. Tolu's father whispered, I won't let you go through this alone. Sarah's mother sobbed, we should have been there. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't enough to erase the past, but it was a start. The girls cried in their parents' arms, releasing years of bottle hoppings. Mrs. Davis arranged therapy sessions for them. At first, talking about everything again was hard. Some days they sat in silence, other days they cried, but little by little they started to feel lighter. Healing takes time, Mrs. Davis told them. You don't have to rush, just take it one step at a time. Their parents also tried their best to make things right. Mina's mother called her every evening. Tolu's father started attending family counseling. Sarah's mother promised to always listen. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. Each girl found her own way to cope. Sarah started writing in a journal, pouring her pain and hopes onto paper. Tolu turned to drawing. At first, her sketches were dark and full of shadows, but slowly colors started appearing. Mina found comfort in music, listening to songs that made her feel understood. Even with this little step, the battle inside them continued. One day, the school organized a special session for personal safety and awareness. A counselor stood in front of the students and spoke about the importance of speaking up against abuse. Many people suffered in silence, she said. But you don't have to. Your voice matters. Your stories matters. The room was silent. Then the counselor asked if anyone wanted to share their experience. No one moved at first. Then, to everyone's surprise, Mina stood up. I want to say something, Mina began. For a long time, I was scared to speak. I thought no one would believe me. I thought it was my fault. But I knew now that I was wrong. It was never my fault. And I am not alone. Mina continued. There are many of us who have been hurt, but we don't have to stay silent. We can help each other. We can stand together. When she finished, the room remained silent for a moment. Then suddenly, the entire room was filled with applause. After the session, several students approached Mina, thanking her for her bravery. Some even shared their own painful experience. That day, they learned an important lesson. Speaking up was not just about telling the truth, it was about finding the strength to heal and help others heal too. The school counselor reported their case to the authority. Investigations began. The police asked questions. Lawyers got involved. It was scary, but the girls knew they had to be brave. Their parents were full of regrets. Their mothers cried. Their fathers looked broken. They had failed their daughters, and now they wanted to make it right. The case went to court. The girls had to testify. It was hard to stand in front of strangers and talk about their pains, but they did it. They told the judge what had happened. They pointed to the people who hurt them. The truth was finally out. After many days, the verdict was given. The abusers was found guilty. They were taken away, never to hurt them again. Sarah, Mina, and Tolu held hands. We did it, Mina whispered. Yes, Tolu said, her voice firm. This is for us, and for every girl who is still too scared to speak. Justice was served, but their journey was not over. Even after justice, the scars remained. The nightmares still came. Some days they felt normal, other days the past haunted them. They continued therapy. Talking helped, writing helped, drawing helped. Slowly, the heavy weight in their hearts became lighter. One day, Mina saw a younger girl crying alone. She sat beside her. Are you okay? The girl shook her head. I'm scared. Someone hurt me. Mina took her hand. You are not alone. I understand. And in that moment, she realized their pain had a purpose. They could help others. Together, Mina, Tolu, and Sarah started a club at school, the safe place, a space where students could talk, share, and heal. It grew into something bigger than they had imagined. As they sat under their favorite tree, Sarah smiled. We are not just survivors, we are warriors. Mina nodded, and we will never be silent again. Tolu took their hands. We had the light in the darkness. Their past had shaped them, but it would not define them. Their journey wasn't over, but they were no longer alone. They were strong, they were brave, and they would keep fighting for themselves and for every girl who still needed a voice. To every young girl out there, Mina, Sarah, and Tolu have a message for you. You are strong, you are brave. No matter what happens, never be silent. Speak up, fight for yourself. You are not alone. Lessons from the story. This story teaches us that silence is not always peace. It can be pain wearing a quiet mask. Mina, Tolu, and Sarah lived in home filled with luxury but starved of love. Their parents gave them the world but forgot to give them themselves. And while they wore smiles in public, they were crumbling inside, unseen, unheard, and unloved. It is a wake-up call to every parent who believes that providing food, clothes, and school fees is enough. It is not. Children need your attention, your affection, your presence. Being physically available means nothing if you are emotionally absent. A hug, a listening ears, a sincere "how are you" can do more than money ever will. Teachers and caregivers are not just educators, they are protectors. These girls sat in class with broken spirits, but no one noticed. Their pain was written on their faces, in their silence, in their withdrawn behavior, but it was ignored. Every adult who works with children must open their eyes, ears, and hearts. Not all suffering comes with bruises. These stories expose how abuse doesn't always come from strangers. It can come from within the home, marked as discipline or drowned in neglect. And when it does, children often feel powerless, afraid to speak up, scared they won't be believed or that it's their fault. But silence protect the abusers, not the abused. To every young person watching this, your voice matters. Don't let fear shame you. Don't suffer in silence because you are scared to of breaking the peace. The moment you speak up, healings begin. The moment you seek for help, a door opens. You are not weak for feeling hurt. You are not drawn for needing love. You are never alone. Someone out there will believe you, help you, and stand for you. To the parents, teachers, and caregivers, listen not just with your ears, but with your heart. Don't wait for a child to break before you pay attention. See the signs, ask the questions, be the safe space, because love isn't proven by gifts, grades, or social status. It's shown through time, presence, empathy, and listening. Let the story be more than entertainment. Let it be a mirror, a message, and a movement. Some children are screaming behind closed doors. Will you be the one who finally hears them? Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Also, click the notification bell so you never miss any of our upcoming stories. Feel free to leave a comment below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Your support means everything to me. Until next time, stay safe, stay blessed, and keep enjoying great stories from me to you. I love you all. God bless you.